Hello stampers, welcome to the craft room. In today's video I'd like to show you how to create mirror images of your stamps on your cards and paper craft projects. And this is a technique that I came up with since I really wanted to give this heart wings, but all I had was a stamp that was going to create the wing on the right hand side, and I didn't have a stamp to create one on the left. So I had to come up with a way to be able to create that mirror image, and I'd like to share with you the technique I came up with. For this project, we're actually going to need some freezer paper. You can buy this just in your regular grocery store, and you're going to need a very little amount, although it seems to come in a very large package, so you'll have plenty to use for other projects. And for this project, we're just going to be using a small piece of our freezer paper, so I'm just going to cut that off and put this aside. And I'm going to cut this down since there's plenty here for a couple of projects. So the first thing we're going to do is use this Language of Friendship stamp, and we're going to stamp our first wing, and that's going to be the right hand wing. So we're just going to take our classic basic black ink, and we're going to ink up that wing. And then we're just going to stamp that wing onto our cardstock. So now we have the right hand wing. Now to get the left-handed wing, we're actually going to bring in our freezer paper. Now one thing you'll notice about freezer paper that might be a little difficult to see in this video is that it has two different textures on the different sides of the paper. So on one side it's got kind of a matte finish that feels like paper, and on the other side it has almost a wax paper feel, and we're going to be working with this waxed paper side. So we're going to ink up our stamp once again, so inking up our wing. And you want to get some good ink coverage here. And then we're going to stamp our wing straight down onto our freezer paper and lift straight up. And then what we're going to do is turn our freezer paper over onto our cardstock, and we're going to use a bone folder to burnish that stamped image onto our cardstock. And once you're done burnishing, you just pick that up and you have your reverse image. You'll notice that this image is a little bit lighter in color than the original one we stamped, and if you have any issues with that, what you can do is just take your stamp and stamp your wing again, since now it's at half strength. Since the first time we stamped it, it was at full strength of ink, now it's at half strength, and you can keep stamping it until you get the look that you really like. So that might actually be the closest, kind of that triple stamp, or at 1/3 strength of the original ink. And then we're going to cut out our wings using our paper snips. So now that we have our wings cut out, I'm just going to grab the heart-to-heart punch and a scrap of cardstock, and I'm just going to punch this long skinny heart out of that punch. And then let's see, I guess you could put these wings on the front of the heart or behind. I kind of like them behind, and we can adhere them down using either dimensionals or using just regular Tombow Mono multi-glue. I'm actually going to use some pieces of dimensionals, so let me cut up. I'm going to take one dimensional, I think, and cut it very, very thin into little strips. So I'm going to get 4 little dimensionals out of that one dimensional, and just going to go ahead here and add those dimensionals just to the back side of my heart, where I think the wings will be positioned. Let's pull off the excess here, and then let's figure out how we want our wings positioned. Kind of like them like that, and like that. And then as a final touch, I just want to add some dazzling diamonds, which I keep in this container. You can actually use the dazzling details as well if you want, which comes in a bottle, so that you don't create a very large mess like I usually do with my dazzling diamonds glitter. Just a little note about these two different products. When I use my Dazzling Diamonds glitter, I just use a two-way glue pen and it seems to dry very, very quickly. The downside is that you likely will get glitter in other places in your craft room. The Dazzling Details is a lot cleaner in that you don't have glitter flying everywhere. The other part to this though is that it does take some time to dry since it already is in a viscous kind of glue base. So you just need to weigh the pluses and minuses for yourself for your project. So for this one I'm just going to use the two-way glue pen to add some glue to my wings, and then I'm just going to sprinkle my glitter, trying to keep it over the container, onto my wings. And there we go. So pretty. And the last thing is to add our winged heart to a card base. This one I had already decorated with some clouds, and add a greeting as I did for this card. So there you have it, a way that you can use good old freezer paper from your kitchen to do some mirror image stamping for your cards and papercraft projects. I hope you've enjoyed this technique, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon here in the craft room.